Hey everyone, and welcome to a mental health moment. You know, not all of us are walking around with big T traumas, having experienced things like sexual violence or natural disasters or near death experiences. But I'm certain that almost all of us are walking with little t traumas. We've faced things such as bullying or experienced racism. We've had hypercritical parents or absent parents. We've lived with parents that had addiction. We've gone through intense transitions. Those are examples of little t traumas. And you know, today I don't want to minimize the pain of big T traumas. The influence of that trauma is absolutely life altering and intense. But today, I also want to acknowledge that those little t traumas carry their own weight too, don't they? Man. And so, when we've experienced hardship, I think we often white knuckle our ways through, or we pull up our bootstraps and trudge along. We sweep those experiences under the rug, and then we're left hidden in our shame or fear. What we need to consider, though, is that it's not the situation that matters, but it's how the person experiences the situation. And so let's talk through the difference between little t and big T traumas. I read that it's as if a big T trauma is as if I'm chopping an avocado before dinner and I slice my hand. That certainly will warrant a trip to the ER if I'm bleeding and cannot stop that wound. You know, a paper cut could be experienced by someone else. And while that may hurt and it may impact the daily functioning, that won't keep that person from living, right? They can survive. But now, what happens if that person experiences 999 more paper cuts? So 1,000 paper cuts altogether, and then they're told, you know what, those are nothing. That injury is nothing. Those injuries are nothing. Well, then the person probably won't stop and care for those paper cuts, and the hand will become infected, and then they too will warrant a trip to the ER. Our traumas, big or little, needs care. And so, whenever we face hard things, and I think some of us are in seasons such as now, when our routines have been altered, when maybe experiences from the past are triggering us and we are reacting in distress or shortness, impatience or anxiety or depression. Maybe we are finding ourselves with some really negative mental messages to ourselves. Whenever those hard things activate us, I believe it's a reframe. It's a way for us to say, this is our brain and body's way of seeking to survive and then move towards healing. Friends, we may feel out of control when this happens. We may feel disconnected or disconnected to our emotions or our bodies. But if we can remember to pay attention to our whole selves, then we can equip ourselves with messages that will help us process the pain. So for example, I may notice and observe that, man, my back is really hurting. I'm carrying a lot of stress in my back. And then I may notice that the message that comes to my mind is, you are okay. You have what it takes. That may bring me to some reflection where in the past I may have heard messages that were quite different. Ones that seem to have said to me, I'm not enough. I can't get it right. I won't measure up. And so it's important that when these hard times come, when situations come and they activate us, instead of just surviving, if we can go to that place of what is happening right now, this is my body's way of wanting to survive and move towards greater healing. You know, when we start to reflect on how what we're currently facing may have connection to past experiences, little t or big T traumas, that can be both empowering or overwhelming, right? And so I think I want to speak towards building up a positive library of resources, if you will, that can help us then when it can strengthen our tolerance for the difficult parts of our story, those little or big T traumas. So consider an event in your past, like a timeline where you felt proud or that reminds you of your true self. Recall a person, a book, maybe even a particular place that has given support to you. And in doing so, write those down. In doing so, then you'll have a library of positive resources that will help strengthen your tolerance for navigating the difficult parts of your story. So, friends, when we may be hit with some triggers right now, will we let those times offer or invite that reframe that this is our body's way of wanting to heal from these little or big T traumas? And so then will we consider events where we felt proud, we felt like we were living our true selves? Will we consider people, books, or places that were particularly supportive to us? And will we then have that as a place of positive resource? You know, James reminds us that every good and perfect gift is from above. And so, friends, I think that is true for the work we're doing right now. God has given our brains an ability to flee, fight, or freeze in order to help our bodies survive. And so that's great. No shame in surviving, right? However, our bodies, through Jesus Christ, were also meant to experience abundant life. Jesus said, I came that you might have life and life to the full. And so there's room, there's opportunity for more to be done in order for us to process pain so that we can move from surviving towards greater healing. So will you join me in doing that today? Thanks, and take care.